Little problems getting online. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Firoz Manji from Daraja Press. Welcome to our show on organizing in the time of COVID-19. Today I have two very special guests from South Africa. My first guest is Ayanda Kota, who is the leader of the Unemployed People's Movement and is in hiding after being warned about a plan to assassinate him. It's no idle threat in a province and indeed in a country where political murders are rife. My second guest is Nonle Mutuma. I hope I pronounced that right. She's the spokesperson for of the Amidaba Crisis Committee. She's a human rights and environmental activist fighting against the extractivist industries in Beni, Eastern Cape. They were formed in 2007 because of the Australian company called MRC, who want to open up a mining in a zone which has been an ancestral land. So are we welcoming them both to our show? Welcome, Ayanda. Welcome, Nonle. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us, Comrade Firoz.
It's great to have you, and very good to see you again, Ayanda, even in these difficult times. As I've just mentioned, you're under threat. People are threatening to assassinate you. Why? What's happened?
In fact, in 2019, February, we filed papers taking Makana municipality to court.
When you say we, this is the Unemployed People's Movement?
Okay. Because of its failure to perform its constitutional obligation in terms of Section 154, the matter was heard.
Can you explain? Because our people watching the show won't necessarily know your constitution.
All right. Because of its failure to meet the basic needs of our people, to assert the rights of our people in terms of the constitution. So you have a municipality that's corrupt, that has collapsed under the weight of corruption. As a result, a municipality that cannot meet the basic needs of our people, so that cannot meet its constitutional obligation in terms of the right of our people, right to clean and potable water, right to sanitation, right to roads, and quite a number of other rights, right to a healthy environment. So we then approached the courts to dissolve this municipality. The matter was heard on the 12th of September 2019, and then the judgment was that the MEC for local government must dissolve this municipality. So that was in January. On February, I received an SMS that says I was going to be eliminated. I then circulated the SMS. It was a Vodacom number. It was registered under Billy Toyota. So yeah, and quite a number of other people were so concerned. This was after the judgment in January. So then the municipality appealed the case. So then the appeal was dismissed on the 21st of May this year, 2020. The appeal was dismissed. A judgment that was really damning against the municipality because of its failures again, and because of the corruption, because of people are living next to sewer, because of, the roads have depopulated, and quite a number of other, there's a backlog on housing. People don't have access to water. If there's water, it is contaminated. So you basically have a very dysfunctional municipality. So again, I mean, their appeal was dismissed. So with costs, the litigation cost of this municipality, as we speak, is standing at 3.5 million. The taxpayers will be paying that money, despite it is the residents that are fighting for the dissolution of this municipality. So yes, again, was tipped that I ought to go under radar as a matter of urgency, because there were plans to eliminate me. So precisely I did that. I've gone under radar, and one of the very leading members of the ruling party, the ANC, called me to say he has seen this on social network and asked me to say, be safe, wherever you are, be safe. He also told me that despite that he's the leading leader of the ANC in this province, he told me that at some point he was also on the hitting list because of the contradictions within the ruling party. So yeah, and these are the threats that you cannot take very lightly, because in the evening you cannot sleep. Whatever noise that you hear, even if there are dogs that are barking or it is windy, it's a paper. So you hardly sleep. You're always waiting for anything that can happen to you. And then it affects those that are around you, that this fellow is not sleeping. As soon as it is starting to be in the early hours of the morning, around 6, 7, then you feel like sleeping because you have not been sleeping and you must wake up. So, I mean, it's quite draining, because you are waiting for anything. You don't know when are they going to attack. And we have seen that in this province. I mean, these guys are hiring hitmen. We have seen how the hitmen have taken over the Nelson Mandela Metro in PE, the government in PE. How Bazooka of the Amatiba Crisis Committee was gunned down at home. There's another fellow who was working in Buffalo Municipality. A whistleblower was gunned down at his home. So you just know they are capable and they do these things. The last point that I will make, it is because of the implications of the judgment. I mean, the Premier has made it very clear that if they do not appeal this all the way to Constitutional Court, they will not have the government. They will not have the government in the Eastern Cape, because of this court case. This judgment has set a precedent. You've got a municipality in Nakumkijima. They have taken their municipality court as well for dissolution in Queenstown because of the very same issues, and they are going to win that case. It's even worse. You've got a municipality in Kalusa, under Kala. They are also taking they are also busy filing papers to take the municipality court to court because of the very same failures. I mean, all the Eastern Cape, we don't have municipalities that are functional. Also, just next to here in Port Elizabeth, you'd remember how to steal a city, how the politician, the political elite, and the official bankrupted Nelson Mandela municipality, thieving and stealing. So we don't have the municipality here. People don't have water in Makanda. People don't have water in Mosha municipality. People don't have water in Trala. People don't have water. I mean, as you go around the Eastern Cape, people are struggling. They do not have water. They do not have access to water. There are areas that has been struggling to access water for years. They have to share water with animals in this province. So people are standing up, and this court case have set a precedent. Has exposed the political elite that is corrupt, and to say these people are dysfunctional. Now, instead of the government dissolving this municipality and getting this municipality to work in the Eastern Cape in favor of the people, no, they are not prepared to do that. All that they want, they will go all the way to Constitutional Court to stop the dissolution. And also, you've got politicians that think we are taking their jobs, and we are not taking anybody's jobs. The last point that I want to make, Feroz, it is also the connection between the unemployed people's movement, the struggles of Amatiba crisis, and the struggles of other comrades for water. And because, I mean, the water struggles, the struggles for health and environment, the struggle against mining, the struggles against ESCOM, those struggles are very, very connected, because the mining, it will impact on our water, it will impact on our food, it will impact on our environment. It impacts on our lives because of the very same climate crisis. So these struggles, they connect. That's why we are able to support each other. That's why we are able to connect. The response of the politicians is that we ought to, bazooka ought to be eliminated. The whistleblowers must be eliminated. The Ayanda Kotas of this world ought to be eliminated as well.
So just so that people who are watching are clear about this, this is based in Makanda. This is what used to be called that colonial town, Grahamstown. Is that right? Where
Absolutely.
and this is where the colonial Rhodes University is based.
Absolutely, you're right.
Okay, so this is not just some small village. This is a town of some importance, and you have now managed to set a precedent on the whole issue of the local state being responsible for the care of citizens. How far is this going to go? If it goes to the Constitutional Court, what do you think the result is going to be?
Well, look here, the judge was very clear in the judgment to say this politician must hang their heads in shame. He said it was so embarrassing that the left hand was not doing what the right hand was doing. The right hand was not aware of what the left hand was doing. So the judge made it very clear that there's no judge that will overturn her decision. And because of the plight of our people that are living in sewer, because of the plight of our people that are struggling to access water, if there's water, it is contaminated, because of the state of the roads, because of the politicians that are thieving. So, the judge was quite very clear that they fundamentally, our rights as human beings has been violated by these politicians.
So do you see other movements like Abakhlali organizing to take the cities where they are found, they are organized? Do you see that happening? Do you see this a knock-on effect? Do you think that this is going to be people building on this precedent?
Well, we are part of the cry of the excluded with Comrade Nontle, with Abahlali Basemjondolo, which is the networks of the unemployed movements and movements that are working in mining. We are also part of the Ayanda National Land Movement. So yes, we meet. We are having discussions. We advise each other as activists. So we know that quite number of other organizations will be taking their municipalities to court. As I've said to you, and on the 25th of June, the Queenstown matter will be heard.
Right.
And there are other municipalities that are busy filing papers. I know Saki Sizwe, Dr. Fani Ngapai, Dr. Ntsebeza in Icala, they are also busy consulting with CALS with the view of taking their municipality to court. There are other areas also here in the Eastern Cape where they've been struggling with water. So yeah, we are meeting, and we do have discussions. We do have the WhatsApp group of the province where we talk these issues. And the name of the WhatsApp group is called Eastern Cape Water Crisis. Just imagine now that after 24 years of democracy, people have to form a WhatsApp group to discuss about their plight, that they do not have water. They have to talk about that almost on daily basis. You have the municipality that don't even have the climate crisis document, a document that can mitigate against the effects of climate crisis. We also talk about, how ridiculous the price of electricity it is. So it's also a struggle against for a just transition. As I was saying, all these struggles, they connect. They connect the struggle for food, the struggle against mining, the struggle for a just transition. the struggle for water. I mean, all these struggles, they connect at the end of the day. Because, I mean, the poor and the unemployed, they pay the price. They bear the brunt. So the struggle of Comrade Not against mining is my struggle. My struggle to access water, it is the struggle of Comrade Nontle. His struggle, because this mining are consuming a lot of water as well, and they are contaminating water. So the struggle of Abahlali Basemjondolo, it is the struggle of the unemployed people's movement. Our struggles are not only locally or national, they are international struggles. So the struggle for Black Lives Matter in America, it is our struggles, because in this country, our lives don't matter. That's why Bazooka was killed. That's why Nobule Nzuzo was killed, and quite a number of activists. That's why recently Koza was killed by police and Santa. So it's an international struggles. Our struggles are interconnected. Our struggles are connected.
Right. So, Nonle, can you comment about the situation that Comrade Ayanda faces? How do you see this?
Thank you, Comrade Ferraza, to welcoming me here. You know what Comrade Ayanda is talking about. It's a very common and known issue in South Africa. It's not only in Grahamstown, and it's a pity actually, because Eastern Cape, it's known as a home of legends. This is where all the democratic leaders are coming from. But when you look at the Eastern Cape, it's the worst out of all the 9 provinces. That's why I said it's a pity and it's a shame, because what Ayanda is mentioning about taking the municipality to court, and they are doing a very good job, because all the municipalities in Eastern Cape, we even called them, it's an ICU, because they are not operating. Even if you ask a small thing in our municipalities, they can't produce. The only thing is to make sure that corruption is very, very high. And I hope this judgment of UPM is going to set a precedent to other municipalities to pull up their socks, to do the right things, because the human rights is violated strongly by our own leaders that are sitting on those municipalities, are being paid by our own tax money.
Right. So now tell us about where you are and the struggle that you've had with this mining company, which is an Australian mining company.
Yeah, you know, Ayanda was mentioning that the issue of he was being threatened, and threatening in South Africa is becoming a norm, or it's becoming a tradition, because if you are fighting for the rights, for the good cause, you are challenging people that they must threaten you. And I wish Ayanda is not being shaken by these people, because when they are shaking you, they just want to see how strong you are and how coward you are. Because here in Kolobeni, in Eastern Cape, when the MRC, which is an Australian company, they just came early 1996, and they discovered the titanium along the coast, which is 22 kilometers stretch, where is our ancestral land. We lived for centuries, but they said we must move in order for them to mine. But unfortunately, we said no, we're not going to move, because we know that if we move, we're going to lose everything that we have, and then we're going to live in a squatter camp, in shacks like the Abahlali Basemjondolo. But right now, while the mining is not started, the mining is promising earth and heaven. and son that they were going to build everybody a house. But you can go to Mpumalanga, Emalahleni, you can see people there where there's biggest coal mine. People are living in shacks. If the mining is a good thing, why people of South Africa are still living in shacks? And why those people that are going to fight for their right? Because that's what all of us, we've been promised after 94, that we have a right to live in a healthy environment and to have a house. But those houses we don't see being delivered to the people. But now people, when they try to fight for those houses, they have been murdered. And right now in Kolobeni, since we're fighting to say no to mining, and we're not saying that we want to benefit, because many communities, they've been fooled in the name of jobs. Here we just said that we do have jobs because we do have our livelihood, we do agriculture, and which is sustainable, because mining is just a short term, it's just a temporal solution. Why we need to be forced to take a temporal solution while we're living for centuries? And we've even experienced that during this COVID-19. In my community, there's not even one food parcel that was being served, but the people are survive and they are healthy. There's no problem because they sustain themselves. Because even if you give them the food parcel, the food parcels are not enough. It won't be sustained for the rest of their lives. Now, the life is good, and you can imagine if the mining was taking place, the poverty in my area was going to be too high, because most of the people in my area are unemployed, but they are self-employed. You see, those are two different things. But it's a pity because self-employed is not been recognized by economy, because you are not a servant of somebody. You are employed yourself. That is why they always says that they bring jobs, which is mining. Mining is not a solution. Mining is going to contaminate our water, it's going to pollute our air, it's going to pollute our soil that we produce food and all sort of stuff. And beside that, we are just living close to the ocean, and we're afraid of the tsunamis that can affect us. And also, as we are facing with the global warming, and we even wonder which a government that does not understand that we are facing with the global warming, and because of the human-made activities, which is mining, where they burnt the coal, they destroy the environment. But it doesn't matter as long they're going to make profit. That is why we said no, and we decided to take our own government to court to say we have a right to say no. Where our government of South Africa was shocked to hear that there's a community, they said no to a mining, and we win that court case. But unfortunately, since then we won the court case. The Department of Minerals and Energy were saying that they're going to appeal the decision. That means as citizens of South Africa, we have no right to decide what is good for us, and we have no right to choose what is good for us. Why always development is a top-down approach? And unfortunately, as we formed Amadeba Crisis Committee in order to fight against the mining, our chairperson, Bazuka Radebe, was being assassinated in 2016. And since then, 2016, there is not even clear if there will be any arrest. And the police and the hawks and the government, nobody is assisting us to catch the killers of Bazuka, even today. And some of us, we are like Ayanda, in hiding, changing places, because we are standing on somebody's way. But we said, no matter we are hiding, but we're not going to back off. because while the situation is like that. And beside that, the human rights, it needs the people that they're going to be stand and strong and fight no matter how bad it is, because it's very difficult to fight for the human rights. It's not a payable thing, but it's a voluntary work. That's what we're doing, but we're doing for the right cause. Thank you.
We have somebody joining the show called Nicole, who says she's from the People's Coalition. Uh, are you okay about us inviting her?
Yes.
Ayanda? Ayanda, I can't hear you.
I come again.
We have somebody called Nicole from the People's Coalition who wants to join on this show. Did you invite her?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We have somebody called Nicole who wants to join the show, but was she invited?
Oh.
I think it could be. I think it could be Nicole from the Eastern Cape Coalition.
Right.
I think it could be Nicole from the Eastern Cape COVID-19 Coalition.
Okay. So shall we bring her into the studio?
All right.
Hi, Nicole. Your
Hi
voice.
there.
Hi. Right. Can you introduce yourself so we know who you are? And
I'm Nicole Collier-Naidu. I'm from Port Elizabeth, and I'm a member of the People's Coalition in South Africa, and particularly in the Eastern Cape People's Coalition, of which Ayanda is one of our members. He shared the link to the stream, and so I joined in order to listen. And I'm sorry to join so late.
okay. Well, if you wanted to listen, you can do so. Let me give you the link, and you can go to that link there.
Okay.
And you can watch the show from there. But thank you for joining us. And
sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Okay, sorry about that interruption. I mean, it seems to me, Comrade Onley, that you were formed in 2007, so you've had a 13-year war on this whole issue of the mining company and asserting your right to say no. How has the government responded to your insistence that you have a right to say no?
You know, since we decided to say we have a right to say no, we were becoming an enemy of the state, of the South African government. If I can share a story, of our communities, because of we said we have a right to say no, there is no services in our community. Nothing is zero. No
When
water,
you say
no
so,
electricity.
no water, no electricity.
It's zero.
What about healthcare?
Nothing. Yeah, even the healthcare. If I can talk about the healthcare, our people are walking 25 kilometers just to reach one clinic. The clinics were being built before 1994. And we said that even if they decided to not to give us any services, but we used to live without the services of the government, because we cannot compromise us in order to get those services. That's our decision. And it's a tough decision because when you can see when somebody is sick, you need to take somebody to hospital. As I said, there's no roads, there's no nothing. It's only 4x4 preferable on our roads. And also the hospitals are not there, it's a nightmare, especially the women when the woman is giving a birth, because sometimes the baby just come without expecting. We need to carry that person all the way in order to make sure that is reaching the hospital. Those are the kind of lives that we live. But we said that no matter how difficult it is, we'll continue to say no to mining. And we did even write the letters to the South African Human Rights Commission to say that we are the people of South Africa. We need services like anybody else. Why we need to exchange our land in order to get those services? But even those letters, they did not help us because the Human Rights Commission, they are working, but surely slowly, but nothing is happening since then. But the life goes on. We are not waiting. We'll continue.
Well, this growing culture of violence, of threats of violence, and of murder, of assassination, that has become so common in South Africa. How do you see that playing out, Ayanda? Is this something that can be changed in some way? If politics is played with a gun, then where are we from the 1994 period? Ayanda, you need to switch on your microphone.
I think what Comrade Nontle is saying, what I am saying, the experiences of other movements like Abahlali Basem Jondolo illustrates a state-sponsored violence against the working class in this country. Illustrate the nature of the state, which is top-down. That we don't have agency. We belong to the cave. Fanon will put it in that way. So we must leave the politics to technocrats and politicians. We don't have a voice. It also illustrates the nature of a neoliberal state, which is an instrument of oppression and exploitation. But also the point that Comrade Nontle makes, it also tells you that the lives of our people have not changed a bit. It also links you with the struggles of the people that they call in America to reconfigure or to transform the police service. It should be the call in South Africa, because despite the fact that you had the South African police force, it's no longer a force now, it's South African police services. Though it is South African police services, it has not yet been transformed. It is not democratized. So the call in America and other countries to reconfigure the police, it ought to also be the call here. So it also tells you that our lives as the Black working class, in particular in this country, doesn't matter at all to politicians. So it's a struggle that is not different from any other struggles that are currently taking place around the world currently as we see. So it exposes the failures of the state, of the neoliberal state of the government. And also, I mean, as I've said, and corruption erodes the capacity of the state. So, I mean, the Guerrero shares would go to it's top down, would go to Amadiba Crisis Committee and say, you ought to allow. If the comrades are saying, no, we don't want it, therefore they ought to be assassinated, there has to be a state-sponsored violence. So it's the workings of this government, as you are saying, there's nothing changed to the government of pre-1994, to the government that was killing our people when they were fighting for their democratic right, a right to assert their humanity, a right to live. So under a so-called democratic government in South Africa, still our lives don't matter. It's quite a pity.
So just Comrade Onle talk about COVID and its effects where she is. Can you say something about what have you been facing in Makanda in terms of COVID?
Well, I think if there's something that this COVID-19 exposed, has exposed the bankruptcy of the neoliberal economic system in our country, the bankruptcy of capitalism, because it has put naked the hunger of our people. That there's so much immense hunger, right? It has also exposed that we don't have a primary health care in this country. It has long gone collapsed. So those are some of the things that it has put forward. Though we are expected to wash our hands daily, the reality of the matter is in places like Makanda, where comrades don't stay, where comrades Sibu stay, how are we expected How are we expected on earth to wash our hands when we do not have water? And people, I mean, you already have an economy that has been shedding jobs. With this COVID-19, what has come is just you are going to have more people that are going to even lose more jobs. The narrow definition of unemployment in this country is about 29%. So it tells you that the number is going to even increase more. With this country going to IMF World to borrow more money, and we know the structural programs of the IMF World that cut on your social spending, on housing, on healthcare, it means our lives are going to deteriorate even more. Post COVID-19, our lives will not be better, our lives will even be worse. So what we call abnormal, it's normal, it's normal to us. Post COVID-19, there's nothing that's going to change in our lives. Unemployment will be skyrocketing. Inequalities would have deepened even more. Unemployment will be living in a sea of poverty and unemployment. Nothing is going to change. But COVID-19 has exposed the bankruptcy of the system. And there's also so much secrecy. I mean, people, learners cannot go to schools because there's no sanitation in schools. There's many schools don't have water. Many schools, the teacher people ratio is high.
So you both witnessed these huge uprisings crossing over 48 different cities in the USA as a result of the killing of George Floyd. And there's huge movements internationally as well in solidarity. Can I ask you if you'd like to give a brief message of solidarity for those people from the US who are watching this program? Comrade Nunley.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. You know, when I see the picture of George Floyd was just on the floor, it's very painful. How come you kill a person and you handcuffed, you tied the hands. That means those police were so damn coward. And the situation like that. And I hope right now it's a lesson, because there was unnecessary of losing life for a very negligent of police or arrogance of police. It was unnecessary. And I hope the whole world is learning a lesson, although this lesson is very painful to the family of George Floyd. It's very painful because nobody can bring him back, no matter we like it or not. But we need each other. It doesn't matter you're black or white or you're green. We need each other. We're created God by intention in order to work together, but to not work one person and the other. And in solidarity that we want to share as a Madiba Crisis Committee, that this struggle of US is not their struggle, it's the struggle of South Africa as well. And we are behind them, we support them, and they must show the president of US that he must stand up and put the laws and the regulations straight forward and put the human rights first before any race, before any profit. Otherwise, the country will be bad if he is not he is choosing the profit and the race. Race, it doesn't fit on this system. But we are people, all of us. It doesn't matter you're black or white. That is why we said that we support that struggle. And I was like, wish that I was there outside, but the COVID-19 was not allowing me to go out, because that pain of George Floyd, I know from myself. I was being tear gas by the police. I was being put down and I have bruises through the police. I know that kind of pain because of fighting for the rights. Now, I wish we're learning a lesson as a world, and that the police are there to protect us, but to not to kill the citizens. But the police, the duty of the police is to protect the citizens.
Yeah. Well, we seem to have lost Ayanda. I hope he is safe. Let's make sure we keep in regular touch with him and that he stays safe. But I want to thank you, Nole, for taking time to join us on this show. It's been really interesting to hear about your struggles and your heroism, that you can keep this struggle up for saying no to the mining companies over a 13-year period. This is if we need many more people like you, Comrade Onle, to make this world a just place. So thank you for joining us today.
Amandla.
Amandla, awetu. You take care,
Thank you.
and let's keep in touch. Thank you for
Okay.
joining us today.
Thank you very much.
That was Ayanda Kota, who has been threatened with assassination. I hope he's safe. He went offline a little while ago, together with Nonle Batuma. Thank you for joining us on this show, and we look forward to having you join us on our shows this coming week. This is Firoz Manji signing off now.